The Abdul Latif Jameel Poverty Action Lab. Translating research into action.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm delighted to welcome all of you here today for this special seminar on the topic of using evidence from randomized evaluations to inform policy. My name is Thomas Shupin, and I'm a policy manager at the Abdul Latif Jameel Poverty Action Lab, better known as JPAL, at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. On behalf of everyone at JPAL, I would like to begin by extending a heartfelt thanks to everyone at ICIMOD who has helped make this event possible. We are very excited to be here with you today in Kathmandu to co-host this event with our partner organization, ICIMOD. So here, I present the agenda for the afternoon. As you can see, we have a nice set of talks mixed with ample time for you to mingle and over tea and at the tea reception discuss some opportunities for collaboration on the subject of impact evaluation. So I think we can begin right away. Let me just say a couple of logistical points. Washrooms are located just outside this room on the left. And if at any time you need anything at all, you can approach someone from JPAL or ICIMOD who's helping staff this event. We all have red name tags on. Okay, so let us begin. I'm pleased to introduce our first speaker, Dr. David James Molden, the Director General of ICIMOD, and a development specialist with more than 30 years of experience in designing, planning, executing, and monitoring programs across several different disciplines, including water management, livelihoods, environment, and ecosystem services. Dr. Molden has contributed to the publication of nearly 200 works in books, refereed journals, research, and project report series, the media and educational materials. He has received many awards, including the Outstanding Scientist Award of the Consultative Group on International Agricultural Research in 2009. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Molden.
Thank you very much, and it certainly gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you, certainly our guests here to ICIMOD. It's great to have this kind of opportunity to see not just our ICIMOD staff, but other people in the Kathmandu community. I think a special welcome to our colleagues from JPAL, Esther Duflo and Bushvik, and Dr. Wagle, honorable member of the Planning Commission. Thank you all very much for coming. In addition to that, we have secretaries and joint secretaries, government officials. Welcome to you all. And we have members of and representatives from various organizations in the development community. So I think we have a very good group and a topic that we're all quite passionate about, which is how do we really achieve impact and measure that. Also a big welcome to our ICIMOD staff, who today tend to be toward the back of the room, who are quite keen on this conversation today. I'd like to do two things with my presentation. And number one is to tell just a little bit about ICIMOD itself, especially since we have people who are here, I think, for the first time to ICIMOD. But then secondly, to get to the topic of impact and tell a little bit what ICIMOD has done and how we view impact and what we feel we've achieved over time. ICIMOD, I think you've seen on our cars going around town, it says 4 mountains and people, right? And that basically sums up very much what ICIMOD is about. But our vision is that men, women, and children enjoy improved livelihoods in a healthy mountain environment. So it's very much around mountain people and mountain environments. And our mission statement is essentially to contribute to that vision statement through knowledge and regional cooperation. So as a knowledge center, what we try to do is, in a sense, generate some knowledge on various topics, and I'll tell a little bit about that later. But definitely we have a role to share knowledge. We're a platform for sharing knowledge. And I think that's essentially what's happening today with our guests here as well. We're a regional organization. We have 8 member countries. We're an intergovernmental organization. The countries are Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, China, Bhutan, Nepal, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. And our region covers the mountains and the hills and all those different regions. So on our staff, for example, we have people from each of those different countries. We travel frequently to those different countries. But one special part of our organization is that we're intergovernmental, and on our board we have government representatives from each of those 8 countries. What that means is our accountability is directly to those 8 regional member countries, right? So they approve our strategic plan, they approve our annual budget, and basically guide us in the direction we're taking at ICIMOD. I think if we think about ICIMOD, our niche is really as a regional organization, and we found a niche working across countries. So typically we do projects and programs that cover 3 or 4 different countries, and we like to get people together and sitting in this office exchanging ideas. Now the next kind of question is, why mountains, right? Why an organization that would look at mountains? And if we consider mountainous regions, all of our mountain areas are facing challenges that are unique, right? It's a lot different than the plains areas, the kind of challenges that are being faced, especially if we think about the fragile mountain ecosystems. And in these mountain areas, the rates of poverty are extremely high. I think in our countries, what we've shown kind of as a grand number, mountain people typically have higher degrees of poverty than on the plains. That varies a lot, right? That's highly variable, because certainly mountain people can get out of poverty too. But if you think about the isolation of mountain people, the fragile ecosystems, it's a very special situation. Climate change is something we feel in mountains. I think probably it's something, you know, if you're here, you recognize, you sense, you feel right away. We hear about the glaciers melting, for example. Floods and droughts, it's kind of like every monsoon. You know, you just get nervous about when the next flood is happening, and that what we know is rainfall patterns are intensifying in this region. But in addition to climate change, mountains are also used to be quite isolated, but now very subject to globalization, right? So we feel all kinds of pressures. People in mountain regions migrating quickly out into cities and into other countries. So it's a region full of rapid changes, and somehow we have to deal with that change. We recognize too that not all of those changes are negative. There's a lot of positive aspects of those changes. We sometimes think about migration. The positive side of migration might be the remittances coming back to the countries. Maybe there are opportunities for agriculture, right, to grow crops at higher elevation where we couldn't grow them before. But in addition to that, these mountain regions are full of ideas, full of innovation, right? People are doing things. You can't imagine, you know, how they survived in the first place in these kind of environments and what people are innovating now. We feel there's a real opportunity about sharing that knowledge from one mountain region to the next to gain solutions as we're moving forward. And that's something, a positive side that we have to tap into at ICIMOD. At ICIMOD, we cover topics that are common across different countries. So we cover climate change and its impacts. We do a lot on adaptation strategy, focusing at the community level, working closely with communities, government, the men and women in villages to help build up resilience. We have programs on conservation. It's a region full of biodiversity. For the world's global 32 hotspots are in this region. So there's a reason to conserve resources. There's huge agricultural biodiversity there that will be important for food security. We work on atmospheric pollution. And here at ICIMOD, we provide an important platform to share information across countries and do capacity building. By the way, we had a wonderful training with J. Paul on what you'll see these impact evaluation methods. And thank you all, J. Paul, for doing that with us. Now, the second point of the discussion is why is ICIMOD interested in this collaboration with J. Paul, or the topic of impact evaluation. I think first of all, our staff sitting in the back, every one of us really is here because we want to make some kind of difference in the world, some kind of difference for mountain people and mountain environment. But some question that I always get is, what is ICIMOD doing? What's your impact? Right? So it's something that always comes back to me. Let me just say that for me, in my heart, I know confidently that we've had a lot of impact. And even on my first day, our first days at my job, I started about 3 years ago at ICIMOD. I remember a trip to Pakistan, out to countryside to a factory where they made micro hydropower plants, and they had me unveil the plaque, and it said, "Thanks to ICIMOD for giving me this idea of building micro hydropower generators." So actually, he took the idea from here, just on a trip, and brought it home, and actually has spread that through the mountains. And there are similar stories, say, with kiwi fruit. Right? We have Godavari Knowledge Park. We grow these wonderful kiwis. Some farmer came and said, "Hey, I can do that in my village." And now if you go to eastern Nepal, lots and lots of kiwi fruits are in these areas. There are many more examples. Honeybees, for example, ICIMOD has worked for a long time on indigenous Asian honeybees. And before, 20 years ago when I was here, we didn't buy honey from the market because we thought it was poisonous. Now it's all over the marketplace, and I think that's attributable a lot to the work of ICIMOD. We work on high-valued mountain products like in value chains like bay leaf, which has really led to increased incomes from farmers. By the way, at the UNFCCC, we'll win an award called the Momentum for Change Lighthouse Award, based on some application of community-level flood early warning systems that have already meant that we've already seen one community use this, the alarm went off, and at least some property was saved in that area. I think one of the regrets I have is that we probably haven't documented that as well as we should. We probably haven't done the kind of evaluation that can really prove that, especially what our role is and really has had impact. And that's one of the reasons for having this today. I think a lot of the impacts are pretty hard to measure. Capacity building, we do a lot of, and usually this building is teeming with all kinds of trainings and events from people throughout the region. The other is, I think there's value for getting people from all these different countries together, sitting in the room, talking about science, talking about solutions. I think just getting those people together has some kind of positive spin-off, and really that's one of the impacts I'm quite happy about at ICIMOD. As an example, India, China, and Nepal come together to preserve the Kailash, Mount Kailash sacred landscape. So just the fact that people have agreed to work together on this mountain landscape is really quite important. We also work very closely at a policy level. We've had important inputs on rangeland and non-timber forest products in Nepal. Recently in Pakistan, we provided critical inputs to their food security policy, where basically they asked us to comment. We recognized that mountains were nowhere mentioned in the food security policy, so we're able to quickly get that in. And now we're working closely with the government of Nepal on migration remittances. Also, we've started interesting work on air pollution and black carbon that I think holds a lot of promise. I'd really love to see it in 10 years from now, pollution-free Kathmandu Valley. But I think that some of the challenges for us with impact assessment are attribution. So as I talk, I can't, it's hard for me to really say that's ICIMOD. One of the reasons is we work with partners a lot, right? So we're happy if we're all working as a team, getting these ideas out. So that a lot of times working with knowledge products is difficult, and working with natural resource management systems. But even though it might be difficult, I'm still proud to say that working through partners, these kind of things happen. But at ICIMOD now, we place a lot more emphasis on impact evaluation, actually on planning for impact. So we're doing a lot more work when we start a program, laying out what's our theory of change, how is this change going to happen, what is it we want to change? What kind of information is needed? Who do we need to communicate to? So already in the planning process, it's there. So we have the tools to do that, but we want to get much better at evaluation and documenting our experience. I think there are many advantages of doing this. If we have better evaluation methods, it'll help us learn better what works, what doesn't work. It certainly helps in our accountability to our countries as well. And I believe this is where our partnership and our interest with J. Paul will help us out a lot. And I think, as you'll see in the afternoon, our colleagues from J. Paul have wonderful skills in doing this very rigorous impact assessment work and evaluation work, and we'd like to team up more in doing that. And I think all the development partners, certainly you'll see some things that you'll also get some ideas from this experience. So finally, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and in particular, I'd like to thank our special guest from J. Paul, and kind of turn over the floor to you all for what I'm sure will be some very stimulating and interesting discussion around impact. By the way, I want to just say we have a book that's ICIMOD in Nepal, 3 decades of partnership, and in here we've kind of listed down activities we've done and the kinds of impacts, and they're at the back of the table if you'd like to get a copy, or outside, is that right? Or they'll show you, you'll find it, where it is. Okay, so thank you all, and I very much look forward to the presentations and discussion. Thank you very much.